Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Aspire to Inspire Live. This week we are joined by the 22-year-old producer and DJ, Pierce Fulton. If you guys have any questions for him, please tweet at us using the hashtag ATILive and I will get to as many as possible. So how you doing today, Pierce?
I'm good. It's kind of a nice sunny afternoon in Brooklyn. I guess the sun's down now. I don't really know because I don't have a window in my studio, but it was nice earlier, so it's all
Excellent.
good. Yeah.
Getting used to that weather versus the Miami heat?
Well, I came home with high hopes of some sort of spring weather, but like today was sunny and still like crazy wind because I live right on the water, so it's always really, really windy. And if it's not like relatively hot out, that wind is really, really brutal. So I think we still have a few more weeks of not so great weather, which is unfortunate. But
Dang, well, summer will be here before we know it.
yeah.
Yeah, so I thought we'd just start sort of near the beginning and maybe you can talk to us a bit about when you decided to start pursuing music full-time and dropping out of college, that kind of stuff. Just give us a rundown on that.
So I was, I guess, like 19 when I stopped college. It was my sophomore year, so I guess, yeah, that is 19. And I think I was finishing my first semester of sophomore year, and I got an email from my current management and agency just about like coming to New York and talking about what my situation was for booking and for management. And long story short, I signed with both companies, and I've been with them ever since. And I started like, I guess, part-time touring while I was still in college for my second semester, and it was pretty much every single weekend they threw me on just any show I could get on, and by the end of the semester I had to decide if I wanted to join Wolfgang Gartner on tour for a month or go back to school. And so I was like, well, sorry school, but I'm going to go and do this tour. So it turned out it was a pretty good choice because I've been doing my thing ever since. But yeah, it was an interesting decision to pursue something that was once a hobby into a full-time career, and I ended up moving to Brooklyn after the tour.
And what were you studying in college?
I was studying economics, but I didn't really like it that much, so I sort of just did all my prerequisites and just.
Hold on a second.
Oh, sorry.
You were frozen for like a solid minute there.
Yeah, you're frozen for a little bit here.
Oh, okay. Oh, we're back. Okay, great. What were you studying in college?
I was studying economics, and I wasn't really into it, so I just did all my prerequisite stuff to sort of prepare me for if I wanted to change majors, so I could have all of the basic stuff done and then go on and pursue some sort of focused study. But I ended up stopping right as I finished all my prerequisite stuff.
Nice.
So I could go back and just do whatever, which is nice.
If you want to just quit what you're doing now?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, my one reason to go back would be if I like ran out of money or something. So I guess I'm just going until then.
Nice. And how did your parents take it when you wanted to drop out of college and pursue music?
They weren't too surprised because I ended up going to the school that was actually the least expensive because I'm from Vermont, so to go to UVM, it's a lot cheaper in state than it is out of state. Mm-hmm. So I kind of went into college with the mentality of like, I mean, I'm going to take this seriously, but I'd rather just make it the easiest experience on my whole family, just from a money perspective. And I kind of had I didn't know I was going to leave school, but I had some sort of weird feeling that I wouldn't stay. So I guess that's probably why. And I also just liked UVM, so there were a lot of good reasons to go there. And at first they were like a little worried that it was, I don't know, too early, or I wasn't ready to leave and stuff like that. But now it's been really good, and in the past like 2 years, it's sort of solidified that this is what I'm doing for quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. And you moved to Brooklyn as sort of a test to see if you could make it on your own. How old were you when you did that?
I moved here when I was 19. Nice. It was right after that Wolfgang tour.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, it was the first time I'd ever lived alone or just in my own apartment, because I used to live at home and then go to school and lived in a dorm. Like I didn't go to college long enough to like live off campus or anything, so I just kind of put myself in Brooklyn, like a 5-minute walk away from my brother's place, and just kind of like tried it out, and I've been here ever since.
Hmm. Besides your brother, did you know anyone there, or were you just kind of just by
Yeah, I knew
yourself?
people. Well, what was the one of the main reasons was I moved here because my booking agency and my management were both based here. Now it's just my agency. My management's mostly in LA. Now they moved over like in the past few years, but yeah, that was the initial kind of push, was that I could be close to all the people that I'm working with, and just feel like I'm in sort of a current place, because Vermont is pretty quiet and isolated. So.
Hmm. So being closer to people that you wanted to work with kind of meant leaving behind friends and family and stuff. How did you deal with that?
I mean, luckily, I try to stay in touch with a lot of people that I went to school with, or just some of my family and stuff. But it's tough. I mean, you just have to. I guess you can't really have it all. If you want to have all these all these relationships and friendships for your whole life, you gotta just sort of work the rest of your life around that. And I'm kind of giving music like my 110%, so it's kind of tough to find time to devote to maybe a friend I haven't seen in a few years or whatever. But I try to do it as much as possible. Like I visited Burlington, which is my college town, like 2 weekends ago,
Oh,
because I
nice.
happened to have a show in Montreal and then nothing else after. So I just drove down with my friend, and it was really nice to reconnect with a few people I hadn't seen in a while, and just kind of walk around my old campus and stuff. So
Hmm.
I haven't in a while, but I've been trying to make time for stuff like that lately, because it kind of brightens things up in the grand scheme of things.
Definitely, definitely. You must be so focused on music and your career, but to balance it with real life is just such a genuine quality of that you need, sort of, you know.
Yeah, and like
Um,
when I'm home, I barely even go out. Like I kind of just turn into a hermit and just work on music all day, every day. And so it's nice to like give myself an excuse to not be a hermit, and see some people. So I guess I have to get out of New York for that now.
mhm. And when you are at home being a hermit, what do you do to try and get out of that cycle? You know, I know you can get stuck in the studio for hours and hours. Is there things that you like to go out and do and to kind of
Um,
break up that time?
yeah, I mean, I was talking to someone recently. Like I've sort of figured out tricks to like overcome when I'm sort of, I guess, in a rut music wise. I sort of have tricks to like overpass them with other types of music things. So like I end up helping the progression of my music by not directly doing what I do all the time. And I don't know, I found like different activities that sort of spark new ideas, or just different approaches to writing music that helps me enjoy it on a day that I'm not really feeling like sitting and smashing a keyboard all day. So what's good is back in the day I used to get really frustrated because I just wouldn't know what to do, and I would be kind of lost. But lately I've just found ways that I can work and also actually work. So I know a lot of people like run or do whatever, but I sometimes do stuff like that. Like in the summer, I'll skateboard and stuff, or I don't know, do something outside. But in the winter, it's really, really freaking cold here, so
Mhm.
there's not much.
Um, you mentioned in the written portion of the interview that you like to reminisce about old things that you used to do. Like, what do you mean by that?
Like I'll watch like an old snowboard video, or like I'll. One thing I've been actually trying to do is like I asked my mom if she could find all of my old iPods in Vermont, to just like go through my old playlist and see what the heck I was listening to, because I just like to sort of put myself back into the mentality of when I was 14 years old and I was listening to like AC/DC and stuff. And I don't know, it'd just be nice, because I've forgotten about a lot of that music, and not necessarily like I can't remember it, but I just can't recall it off of the top of my head. And then I'll find a playlist and be like, oh my god, all these songs that I haven't thought about in like 10 years, and stuff like that, or like stuff like skateboarding. I did that when I was really young, so it just kind of takes me back, and like it's not like I'm learning something completely new. It's just revisiting something old that is familiar. So I like that.
And also kind of revisiting the part of your life that was considered normal, I feel like.
Yeah, totally.
Mhm. Um, has there been any time in your career so far that you've seriously considered just throwing in the towel and going back to college? And that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of those times, but I usually the worst thing is that it's usually in my head that that kind of thought comes up. Like I don't think anyone else has ever felt like I need to throw in the towel or anything, you know? It's usually when I'm having some sort of doubt about a song or a few songs and I don't know, like maybe I didn't have that many gigs that month or something and I'm trying to figure out how to pay rent, blah, 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 but that rarely happens, which is nice. And I usually will figure out a way to realize that I'm just being kind of silly and yeah. So luckily, it's never been to the point where like I'm looking to re-enroll at UVM, but sometimes I'm just like, geez, it'd be kind of nice to have a normal life again. But I never really go through with it, so I guess that's a good sign.
Yeah. And in regards to your career and your music, how important is focusing on being unique to you and not really following what's popular and what the trends are?
It's really important. I mean, I don't do it for the sense of like being like, oh, I'm so different. I just do it because I get extremely bored just doing the same thing all the time. It's not so much to like make what represents me stand apart. It's just that like if I'm making music and I'm just using the same sense as I've already used or like same sense as everyone else, I would just get really, really bored and I wouldn't want to do this. So I guess I just do it for my own personal, I don't know, entertainment to like try different stuff. Like even just before the stream, I was like going through this one plugin, trying to find like strange bell sounds for this lead, and I don't know. I'm just like, it's fun to go about something that you normally do one way and just totally turn it on its head. And maybe you're looking for a lead sound and you go through like a percussion pack and turn that into a lead. Like I've heard of people making a bass line out of a snare drum being repeated like extremely fast and stuff like that. Like I don't know. It's fun to just approach things in an unconventional way, and I mean, half of the time you'll get something that sounds terrible, but the other half of the time you'll get something really cool.
Mm-hmm. And do you ever feel sort of pressure or expectations from like your previous music to what you're making now? Like
a bit. Like I can't tell you how many times I've heard a label person be like, "Send me the next Quagga," and that's not a bad thing, but what's good is I don't really see that as like I should just keep doing the same thing, because even those people wouldn't want the same track again. I think they say that in the sense of like, let me hear something that can follow that up or do that but better kind of stuff. But what's interesting is like I have a lot of music pretty much done right now, and it's been kind of a tricky game deciding what comes out next. Because I just don't want to like put out some song for the sake of putting out a song and being like, oh, here's this new song that you're not going to care about. I'd rather have it be more of a statement and really stand out even more than Quagga, I think, because I didn't even expect Quagga to do well. I kind of just put it out to have material, like I was just saying I don't want to do anymore. And it just happened to do better than I thought. But yeah, I think maybe because of that, I don't really feel the pressure. It's not like I made it and I was like, this is the best song I've ever done. Like, I made it and I thought it was just a normal song. So maybe because of that, I don't really feel the pressure to, like, follow any sort of path. I'm kind of just making music that I think is cool, and I'm going to hopefully put it out and see how it does.
Mm-hmm. And with other stuff that you've been putting out or been making, do you find it difficult to sort of make everyone happy in that way? Like, if the labels are asking for the next Quagga, like, what do you tell them? Like, what do you send them instead?
Well, what's funny is for a few months, like in the past few months actually, I was trying to find ways to make everyone happy, and ultimately I was unhappy. So, like, in the past even month, I've sort of just thrown that idea away, and I'm just going to do stuff that makes me happy, because that's what I've always done, and that's always been what has made the best music. I haven't ever made a song being like, oh, this guy's going to love it. I've made an idea, and I'm like, this is awesome. I want to finish this. And then I show it to someone, and they're like, this is awesome. Let's put it on this. Mm-hmm. So instead of sort of meeting other people's goals, I'd rather do what I think is fun and what I think should be done, and let the rest of the people decide. Because the thing is, I'm not like pouring all of my, I don't know, all of my attention into one song. It's like I'm just making all sorts of different stuff, and people can pick and choose what they want.
Nice. Would you ever think about doing an album that way?
I mean, it's still too early for an album, because for the effort that you put into it, like, I don't know. I'm not at a high enough profile where it would be something that would gain that much attention. Like, it'd be fun because the way that I would do an album is, like, instead of just like gathering all the stuff that I have ready and putting it together, I would rather start from ground zero and build it from, start to finish. So yeah, I would definitely wait on the album until later on, just because people won't really care and won't really pay attention.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And how important is quality before quantity to you in regards to music and social media and just general content on the internet and stuff?
Well, I definitely am in a strong belief of quality, but there's also something to be said about quantity as well. I mean, it's like the hardest balance for everything, because you could have a lot of really good stuff, but they all overshadow each other. So like, say you have like 3 really good songs and you put them out like in 3 months. People are only going to remember maybe one of them, or even if they remember all three, they're going to mix up the names or whatever, and it's like that. You can't have too much of a good thing, as people say, and it sounds terrible, but like, it is true. And I mean, obviously the same goes for, like, shoving something really bad down people's throats, like having 3 really bad songs in 3 months. Obviously, no one's going to really care. So I think the formula to success moving forward is focus and actual strategy, and like, not just putting out a song for the sake of putting out a song, putting out a song that will do well and will do well at this time. So like, I could put out a song tomorrow. I don't think anyone would really care. I'd rather somehow start playing the song really early and get people's ears on it, and they might not know it's me, or like have some other DJs play it and say ID, whatever, and build some hype just around the initial product, and then maybe start to put a face with it, or like, do a video of me playing it and maybe not say it's mine, but not say it's someone else's and stuff like that. So I just think that it should be a lot more focused and a lot less ADD, because people are really ADD right now, and it's just, I feel like I can't remember, like, even some of my favorite artists. I don't remember like the last 4 songs of theirs, because it's just been too much and too fast, and nothing has really had that much care put into it. So I don't know.
So overwhelming lately, especially.
Yeah. It's just like, it's overload. It's like information overload, and I don't know. I just can't decipher what artists are going for, because they're just crapping out music.
Exactly, and it seems like everyone's like, oh, Miami Music Week, we have to have everything ready for the summer by now, and it's like they're shoving everything down our throats over this entire week, and it's like, I was there trying to pick up new songs and sounds that I'm hearing that I'm like, oh, this is really good, but really I just heard so much that it was so overwhelming, and I was like, I can't even remember a certain song that I heard being like, that was really good, or really new. And
yeah, I think I read in an audience interview, he said, like, sometimes when I have 3 pretty good songs, I just put the best of each one together and make one really good one. And I was like, that's really smart. So like, instead of having 3 like, pretty good songs that have something cool about them, just combine them into one super song, and just like, it might not work every time, but I think it is a good practice, and maybe a good technique towards making one good product versus 3 all right products. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I don't even know if that's so much artist's fault, or maybe it's actually their label's fault, just demanding more out of them at a faster.
I don't really know. I mean, because I've just done everything myself. I don't have like a label hounding me for stuff all the time. So like, I don't really know why people are putting out so many songs, but I don't know. Maybe it's a panic because they think that dance music's gonna die soon, even though that's just a load of crap. But I don't know.
I think our generation is just so ADD to begin with, that they think that if someone else comes out with a song right after them, they're just going to be forgotten, like, just as fast as it came up, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's a bit of a dumb mentality.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I was even thinking about like bands like Phoenix. Like, their last album was maybe 2 years ago, and I'm still like, I can remember the album, and I'm excited for the next one. But I'm happy they didn't have a bunch of random stuff in the middle of the album and the other album. And I don't know. I sort of miss that formula of like bands doing one album every year or 2 years, and it's just a good product. They tour off of it, and they make the next one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a simple way about it that people have forgotten.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know we see a lot of artists only caring about themselves and their own careers, and they're pretty selfish in the way that they, I don't know about selfish, but um, just really just caring about themselves and sort of overlooking the idea that you guys are icons and should be having like that human artist connection with your fans. And I want to know your opinion on your interaction with your fans and your human connection.
I'd say I sort of just treat everyone like they're a friend because they usually treat me like a friend. That's the most simple way of putting it. Like, if someone says something nice, I'm going to say thank you very much. That's awesome of you, blah, blah, blah. And that's like when people are like, thanks for coming here and playing a set. I'm like, thank you for coming out. Like, I wouldn't be here if you weren't coming out to see my show. And I think, I don't know, some people get caught up in their ego and just are like, yeah, I know I'm the shit. Like, you should be coming to my shows. And I don't know. I think that that's just a little silly. And in the end of the day, like we're humans too, so we shouldn't really see ourselves as any different from the person that's in the crowd. Because I was a person in the crowd at one point. I remember sneaking into an Eric Prydz show and being like, "Oh my God, this is the coolest thing in the entire world." And you know, I don't know. It's just I think that with dance music blowing up so much, the whole like celebrity status thing is getting a little silly. And I mean, I guess I don't blame certain people for acting the way they do because that's what happens when you gain popularity. But I'm just happy that I handle it a little differently, even though I'm still pretty relatively unknown and I'm just like doing my thing slowly and surely. But I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, come on, like really, dude. But what can you do?
Yeah, kind of takes away from the fact that you guys are still making art. You know,
Yeah. It becomes like this, like I'm cool because I did this, and it's like you're just making music, dude. You're still like a dork at the end of the day.
You're still a computer nerd.
Yeah. Seriously.
So is fan interaction with you important to you, like on Twitter and stuff?
Yeah, totally. What's funny is I hate saying it because I don't really believe it, but I'm actually pretty shy to begin with. But like I'm fine with like performing and stuff like that. But just on a personal level, I'm pretty shy. So it's actually nice to have something like Twitter where I can reciprocate certain things, and it doesn't have to be a completely like one-on-one interaction like in person where someone talks to you or something, you know. So it's nice to be able to like see obviously what these people that are listening to my music are thinking and what they want or what they what they like, and to be able to be like, that's awesome, like let me try that, or yeah, I'll get on. Like for example, I stopped doing my Get Weird podcast thing, and just because I wanted to do a new radio show and kind of change the format. But like I've had people tweet like in the past few months, like when's the new radio show coming, blah blah, and it would just remind me like, oh crap, I have to do this new radio show. And I actually did like a trial episode I think yesterday, and so I'm just like trying to get the gears going for that. But it was just nice to have someone be like, hey man, I'm really excited for the new radio show, and then I was like, oh yeah, me too, like let me get on it, I'm gonna do it pretty soon. And so I actually did it that day, and hopefully I can actually fluff it up and actually give it a name and stuff because it doesn't have a name yet. But yeah, stuff like that is really beneficial.
Mm-hmm. So if you're a really shy person, do interviews like this make you nervous?
No, that's what's weird is like I'm shy, I guess, when it comes to like talking to someone just about like I don't know, like making friends. You know what I mean? I can talk about music or this stuff really naturally, but I guess if I'm like at a party, for example, if I'm at a party, I don't know why, but I'm just really shy. If I don't know anyone or like they don't know me or whatever, then I'm always just like, hello. It's just a weird something weird that I don't know. And I can like perform in front of people I don't know, but I just can't like have a casual conversation that easily, which is bizarre.
Maybe it's because you're so passionate about the music and stuff. When it's like a conversation or things, a social environment that's not about that, you just feel a bit.
Yeah, I just feel out of place because I don't really have anything else to talk about. as boring
really
as
that sometimes. He's kind of like that awkward person there, and you're like, so do you listen to music?
Yeah. No, I love it when that's like an icebreaker. Like, so do you like music? I'm like, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, here and there. It's whatever. Yeah. Okay, so there's another thing here about Helping people to see that they're beautiful and loved, kind of like above and beyond, and getting people to appreciate life. What's that about?
Well, I was really just talking about like how, most shows nowadays, at least at festivals, it's like everybody jump or like put your hands up and all that stuff as like the crowd interaction, which I guess, it's effective, but I don't think anyone's gonna go home and be like, I put up my fucking hands. Like,
I jumped.
yeah, like I jumped on that drop. That was sick. Well, I'm sure there are people that are like that and they enjoy that. And I respect that if that's what you want to go home remembering. But like when I remember when I first saw Above and Beyond, I didn't even know about their little text thing that they do onto the visuals. And I just remember them saying like, actually, I think when they play Kuaga, they say, what does it say? Like something about summer. Oh, summer is a state of mind, and it's just like such an awesome little thing to like pair with the song that's going on. And you go home and you remember that, like you remember the song and you remember like exactly what they said, and there's just like this kind of cool connection. And they don't even have to get on the mic and yell and stuff. They just type it very elegantly on the board, and it's just such a nice little interaction. And also their whole thing with like the push the button is so cool and so brilliant because it makes people excited about going to their shows. They have something to offer to their fans, not just noise and yelling on the mic.
Do you have any ideas of what you would maybe want to do in your shows eventually?
That's something I have brainstormed for like 2 years now, so hopefully I can figure. I mean, I call it that third factor, and the reason I call it that is like you can have the music, you can be a good DJ, but you need something else to offer to actually like build a fan base that's going to come to your shows all the time. And like, I mean, people can say what they want about Steve Aoki, but like the cake thing is brilliant because people say, "Have you seen Steve Aoki?" It's not like, "Oh yeah, he's a good DJ, go see him." Everyone can go like, "Oh yeah, everyone's a good DJ, I'll go see them." But they're like, "No, he throws a cake at someone in the crowd and it's crazy, so maybe you'll be the one that gets the cake thrown at." So that's like the third factor that people want to go see. They want to just see the cake or be the one that gets the cake in the face. I don't know, whatever you really want. But he has that thing, and it could be as simple as like Dot of Life with the bananas and champagne. Like you can go dressed up as a banana, and you're like part of the crew of bananas, and that's just like this cool, engaging thing. Mm-hmm. And even something as simple as Madian doing the like launchpad thing, that's just something that like the best way to explain it is how do you sell a DJ to someone that has never been to a DJ show? You can't just be like, oh, he's really cool and he makes good music. They'd be like, sick. Like, I can go home and listen to that. But if you go, oh, he plays this cool thing on the launchpad, this live thing, have you seen the video, pop culture, la la, and they're like, oh, that's cool. I'm gonna go see him because there's this thing in addition to the regular, norm of DJing. Mm-hmm. So that's something I think that is really overlooked right now, just in terms of what artists are doing, and I don't know, it's something I've been trying to figure out how to add to my career, but I guess it's still pretty early in all my stuff, but maybe it'll come.
One Data Life show like 2 years ago, they brought in like 500 pillows and we had a pillow.
Yeah, stuff like that. It's so brilliant.
It was so much fun, and I still remember that show so vividly because of that.
Probably remember that forever, yeah.
Yeah, it's just smart.
And I hate to say it, but like I can play a set and someone could be like, that was an awesome set, like I'm gonna remember that, blah blah blah. But I don't think they're going to remember it for the rest of their lives. And that's just because everyone is a freaking DJ right now, and everyone can play a really good set. And to be honest, anyone can make really good music if they put the time and effort in and they have a certain niche for it. So I don't think you can survive just based on music and your live show and how much performer you are. Like anyone can jump on the booth and hype up the crowd, which is so silly in my opinion because it's like we're DJing, we're not freaking, writing the Declaration of Independence. Like, it's not the hardest thing in the entire world. I don't know why. Yeah. But that being said, I think that moving forward, what is going to set people away from, the mass of DJs and producers right now is the small, sort of more thoughtful things that go into both the live show and the music. So.
Definitely. I agree. Okay, well, let's look at Twitter and see what's going on over here. The question here is saying, how long did it take you to start being recognized?
Just for like my production in general, I guess.
Probably, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't even like post anything until I guess I posted stuff, but it was like my like mom and her friends would listen to it, so that was about it. But I guess it was maybe when I did like my first official release, which was just like a remix on Beatport, and it was really really bad. But I think I don't know, maybe because I guess it was back in the day. Beatport was still pretty like exclusive to electronic music people, so they would kind of notice if there was a new remix or whatever, or if it was on some label that was cool or whatever. But I don't know. It just seemed like a little more simpler of times, so people paid attention to more stuff. So I guess that's when I started getting recognized. But I'd say the real turning point is when I did my actual like first EP, my Pardon My French EP, because I did this silly little video of me burping and recording it and putting it in my song and stuff. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, there's another one here saying, what has been the hardest obstacle to overcome as far as production composition is concerned?
I guess telling myself that that I don't have to do the same thing every time and that I don't have to follow certain guidelines, because I can, and I can, you know, take this easy route and not really be proud of what I'm doing, but I'd much rather be excited and happy about what I'm making than do what I think is easy and what is going to get me to the top the fastest, because I don't really care about getting to the top that fast. I obviously care about growing my career, but I'd rather enjoy the ride than be miserable and on top.
Totally. There's one asking why you didn't do the meet and greet in Miami.
Oh, I wanted to, but like, so okay, I have an embarrassing story. I played a show in Miami at this place called 11, which is this 24-hour strip club, and my set was at 8:30 in the morning. So on my itinerary it says Friday, March 27th or whatever at 8:30 a.m. So me being, you know, the logical doofus, I go to the club at Friday at 8:30 a.m. like anyone else would that looks at a schedule, and the person's like, "Yo, like Friday means the show on Friday and 8:30 following," and I was like, "Well, why wouldn't you put Saturday in parentheses? Like, come on." So I ended up going to this freaking club at 8 in the morning, both on Friday and Saturday. And so I was gonna do the meet and greet on Friday, but then I ended up going back to sleep because I had another show later. And then Saturday I had all that stuff all day and another show. And then Sunday was my only day to sleep, so I couldn't really do a meet and greet. It was my fault because I didn't really properly go to my, you know, the right set time. But I'm sorry, and maybe next time in Miami I'll do one. But it just I don't know. I had to sleep on Sunday, or else I would have been toast.
Yeah, Sunday I think was everyone's just dead day.
And I had to play it at like 1:30 on Sunday, so yeah.
Like Sunday morning or Sunday night?
Sunday afternoon.
Oh, afternoon. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gosh, that week's just insane for everyone, I feel like.
Yeah, and like I probably could have done the meet and greet if I had, yeah, followed my guidelines, but I messed up a little bit, so I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm sure they will forgive you. Okay, there's one more here saying, any tips on mastering and mixing?
I mean, I just got comfortable with my mastering and stuff, but I don't really know. I mean, I don't even know if I'm doing it right. I kind of just limit the crap out of everything, but I mean, I guess my few tips is I use Ozone 5 for a bit of EQ stuff, as well as the Logic EQ, and then also for some stereo imaging, which I don't even know if is good for the song, but it sounds good, so I'm assuming it's not the worst thing in the world. But I never like learned from a professional how to master or mix, so I'm just like kind of doing stuff that I know from trial and error. And then I use a few other Waves plugins, and then I just run it all into a limiter really, 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 really loud, so it kind of just is like that clipping master where it just sounds good and it's really, really squashed, but it's not distorting, which is nice. So yeah, just lots of limiters, which is probably not good. And I think deadmau5 would be really, really disappointed, but I don't really care.
Great advice.
Yeah. Disappoint deadmau5. I'll have a good master.
All right, so that's basically all I have for you. If there's anything else you want to say or talk about or mention.
Well, I leave for 3 shows this weekend. I play in Pittsburgh tomorrow, Vancouver on Friday, and then Salt Lake City on Saturday. So it's a solid little weekend party. And I also have, like, I think Michigan, or no, Richmond, Virginia, and Boston next weekend. And I also have a lot of new music that I will probably be playing at these new shows and in my new radio show, and some other DJs have downloaded them, so I don't know. Blau and Dallas K played them in Miami, so maybe if you go to one of their shows, you'll hear it. So yeah, there's new music kind of floating around, which is good.
Amazing. Great to hear. All right. Well, thank you for joining me, and yeah, good luck this weekend with all your shows.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thank you for yeah, it'll be a good weekend. Yeah. And I'll see you in Vancouver?
Yes, I believe so.
Sweet.
We'll talk about that when we go offline. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Our next episode will be on April 15th with Disco Donnie. So see you then. Bye.